The Säntis Distillery was founded by the old beer brewery Locher in the Swiss canton of Appenzell. They produce the Appenzeller beer since 1886. The whiskey distillery is much younger from nowadays. The distillery and the brewery work on a very limited space in the center of the small town of Appenzell in the northeast of Switzerland. The Ancrestal Portrait Gallery reaches back for 5 generations. Old brewery and distillery equipment is presented in the small museum, where you also find a selection of beer and a table with some specimens of different spices. They are all found in the beer as well as in the whiskey. And in the back you see a cask where you can fill your own bottle of whiskey. Here you see the ingredients as well as the spices you find in the whiskey and the beer. The ready-to-brew malt for the beer and whiskey is delivered by truck. It is very tight in the inside. Every cubic foot of the brewery is crammed with equipment. The beer, for the real beer and for the whiskey, is brewed in big open tubs. The demand for the beer is rising faster than the supply, and a new brewery is built just a mile away. Have a look at the different fillings of the tubs. And a look back again. The still is located just beside the filling conveyor of the pub supply of the Appenzeller beer. The distillery consists of a pot still with a rectifier fitted to the top. You can see the new pot stills behind the card boxes. They will be put in place when the brewery finally moves to the new site. The maturation of the whiskey is partly done in the old cellars of the brewery as well as here below the roof of the building. Up here you find mostly the sherry and wine casks. The black beer in the back is as well part of the emblem of the brewery as of the canton Appenzell of Switzerland. Here you can see in the back some equipment, experimental equipment for distillation trials. Part of the whiskey is maturing in more than 100-year-old beer casks. You can identify them by the red edge and the thicker staves of the cask. They had to be thicker to keep the pressure of the CO2 of the beer in the filled casks. To collect thousands of old beer casks from Switzerland, Germany and Austria was no easy task. Beer is shipped since decades in pressure-tight containers made of stainless steel or in former times aluminum. The old beer casks were formerly cladded with pitch in the inside to seal the pores of the staves and hold the pressure. There are gaps in the pitch today, and 100 years of beer and oak aroma is transferred into the whiskey. Back in the visitor center, we take a look at the whiskey track of Appenzell. You find 27 whiskey casks along the alpine walking tours, of which you may all have an individual bottle filled. You can see in the wooden frame how differently the uncolored whiskies matures. The Säntis Distillery and the Alps around it are worth a travel.
In der Schweiz geben wir nur die besten